First contact's price. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the Lunar Observatory's main viewport, her reflection ghosting against the stars. The signal that had brought her to Lunar Base Artemis pulsed steadily on the holographic display behind her, its quantum signature unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. After 20 years of searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, they'd finally found something. Or rather, something had found them. "Commander," the signals changed. Lieutenant Park's voice cut through her thoughts. "It's adapting to match our quantum communication protocols." Sarah turned from the viewport, her eyes narrowing at the shifting patterns of light dancing across the lab's central display. "They're learning our technology in real time. Record everything." The signal had first appeared 3 days ago, targeting Earth's quantum communication network with precision that suggested vast technological superiority. The UN Space Command had immediately dispatched Sarah, their leading xenolinguistics expert, to the lunar base. Now, watching the alien transmission evolve, she felt equal parts wonder and unease. "Got it!" Park exclaimed. The signal stabilized into a repeating pattern. It's a language matrix." Sarah's fingers flew across the holographic interface, breaking down the complex patterns into recognizable components. "They're not just learning our technology," she breathed. "They're teaching us theirs." The next 12 hours passed in a blur of breakthrough and revelation. The alien signal contained the foundations of a universal translation protocol, allowing their civilizations to communicate. But as Sarah delved deeper into the transmission, she discovered something troubling. Embedded in the language were concepts of hierarchy, dominance, and absolute authority. Multiple contacts. The base's tactical officer's voice crackled over the calm, massive objects emerging from fold space. Sarah rushed to the observatory's upper deck, her heart pounding. Through the reinforced windows, she watched as space itself seemed to tear open. Massive ships, each larger than Earth's largest cities, emerged from the dimensional rifts. Their hulls gleamed with an iridescent black material that seemed to drink in light itself. "This is High Commander Vex of the Vraxian Empire," a voice resonated through every speaker and device on the base. The translation was perfect, yet carried undertones that made Sarah's skin crawl. "Your species has been deemed worthy of evaluation. Submit to biometric scanning and classification." Sarah keyed the base's communication array. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of Earth's United Nations Space Command. We welcome peaceful contact, but we cannot submit to unauthorized scanning of our population." A pause followed, heavy with tension. "Interesting," Vex's voice returned, carrying a note of what might have been amusement. "Your species exhibits unusual resistance to authority. This trait has been noted in your classification file." Before Sarah could respond, energy readings across the base spiked. A beam of coherent light, too bright to look at directly, lanced from the largest Vraxian vessel toward Earth. For one terrible moment, Sarah feared it was a weapon. Instead, it appeared to be some kind of massive scanning array. "Stop this immediately," Sarah demanded. "You have no right." "Rights," Vex interrupted, "are assigned by the Empire based on species classification. Your preliminary rating suggests minimal technological achievement, yet unusual potential for resistance. This combination has been deemed problematic." Warning klaxons blared throughout the base. The tactical display showed hundreds of smaller craft launching from the Vraxian ships, their energy signatures building toward weapon range levels. "You have one planetary rotation to submit to full Imperial authority," Vex announced. "To demonstrate the consequences of refusal, we will now provide an example." Sarah watched in horror as a pencil-thin beam of light struck Lunar Base Beta, the research station on the far side of the moon. The beam lasted less than a second. When it vanished, the base and 20 square kilometers of lunar surface had been transformed into a perfectly smooth crater of glass. 3,000 human lives, Vex stated clinically. "A small demonstration. Your species has significant population redundancy. Further demonstrations will be proportional to continued resistance. Sarah's hands clenched into fists as she watched the emergency beacons from Beta go dark one by one. In that moment, she felt something fundamental shift in her understanding of humanity's place in the universe. They weren't alone in the cosmos, but the cosmos was far more dangerous than they'd imagined. As she coordinated the evacuation of Artemis Base, Sarah discovered something in the debris field of Beta Station. A quantum signature, similar to but fundamentally different from the Vraxian communications. She quickly downloaded it to her personal neural interface, sensing its importance but lacking time to analyze it. The evacuation ships launched under the watchful eyes of the Vraxian fleet, their weapons tracking every movement. As Sarah's shuttle descended toward Earth, she looked back at the moon, its scarred surface a testament to humanity's brutal first contact with galactic civilization. But in her neural interface, the mysterious quantum signature pulsed with possibility. The Vraxians hadn't been the first advanced civilization to contact humanity, she realized. Something else had tried to warn them, hiding its message in the background radiation of space itself. Now she just had to figure out what that warning meant before the Vraxians' deadline expired. Earth's cities glowed beneath her shuttle's viewport, their lights a defiant declaration of human presence in the darkness. Sarah Chen, who had dreamed of first contact her entire life, now faced the reality that humanity's greatest challenge wasn't finding other intelligent life in the universe. It was surviving it. The hidden protocol. The underground bunker beneath Geneva hummed with tension as world leaders gathered for an emergency session of the United Nations Security Council. Commander Sarah Chen stood before them, her neural interface projecting the mysterious quantum signature she discovered in the ruins of Beta Station. The Vraxians weren't the first to find us, she explained, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. This signal predates their arrival by at least 3 months, hidden in what we thought was background radiation. The UN Secretary-General leaned forward. And you believe this other signal is significant? It's more than significant. Sarah expanded the holographic display, showing the intricate patterns within the quantum signature. It's a warning, and possibly our only hope of survival. Working with Earth's most advanced quantum computers, Sarah and her team had spent the precious hours since the evacuation decoding the hidden message. What they found was staggering: technical specifications for advanced defensive systems, star maps of Vraxian territory, and most importantly, evidence of an ancient coalition called the Stellar Concordat. The Concordat was an alliance of species that opposed Vraxian expansion thousands of years ago, Sarah continued. They developed technologies specifically designed to counter Vraxian weapons. But something happened, the records are fragmented. The Concordat vanished, leaving behind only these hidden messages across the galaxy. Messages waiting for other species to find before the Vraxians reached them, the Chinese premier mused. But we found it too late. Not too late. Sarah brought up another hologram, this one showing a complex molecular structure. This was hidden deepest in the signal. It's not just technical data, it's genetic. The Concordat didn't just leave us weapons, they left us a key to unlocking something within human DNA itself. The room erupted in murmurs. Sarah waited for them to quiet before continuing. Our preliminary analysis suggests humans have dormant genetic sequences that can interface directly with Concordat technology. We're not just random targets of Vraxian expansion. We might be the descendants of Concordat refugees, our ancestors' abilities buried in our genes to hide us from detection. That's why the Vraxians called us problematic, the US president realized. They sense something in us but can't identify it. Exactly. Sarah's fingers danced through the holographic data. The Vraxians classify species based on technological achievement and resistance potential. We're low-tech by their standards, but our resistance potential reading was off their charts. They've never seen anything like us because we're carrying Concordat legacy code in our very cells. The Russian president's voice cut through the discussion. This is fascinating, Commander, but we have less than 18 hours before their deadline. How does this help us survive? Sarah nodded to her chief engineer, Dr. Patel, who stepped forward with a small device. This prototype took everything we had to build in time, but it works. The quantum signature contained plans for what the Concordat called a neural amplification network. It activates those dormant genetic sequences, allowing human consciousness to interface directly with certain types of quantum technology. Dr. Patel held up the device. We've managed to recreate a small version of their quantum shield generator. Normally, it would take massive power plants to operate. But with the neural amplification network. Sarah placed her hand on the device. It hummed to life, projecting a shimmering energy field that enveloped her completely. The world leaders gasped as she passed her other hand through the field, causing ripples of iridescent light. The shield draws power directly from human consciousness, amplified by our hidden genetic potential, she explained. The more humans connected to the network, the stronger it becomes. And this is just the beginning of what the Concordat left us. How many of these devices can we construct in 18 hours, the Secretary General asked. With every manufacturing facility on Earth running at full capacity, maybe enough to protect our major population centers, Dr. Patel answered. But we'll need volunteers to operate them. The neural interface process is intense. Sarah deactivated the shield. I've experienced it. It feels like your mind is being stretched across space itself. But it works. And more importantly, the Vraxians have never encountered anything like it. Their weapons are useless against Concordat quantum shields. The Secretary General stood. Then we have our path forward. Commander Chen, you have the full resources of Earth at your disposal. Dr. Patel, begin immediate mass production of the shield generators. And may whatever powers watched over our ancestors help us now. As the world leaders dispersed to prepare their nations, Sarah returned to the quantum data, searching for more hidden messages from humanity's forgotten guardians. The Vraxians would return, expecting to find a primitive species ready for subjugation. Instead, they would face the awakened heirs of the stellar Concordat. In her mind, through the neural interface, Sarah felt the first stirrings of something vast and powerful. The dormant genetic sequences weren't just code, they were a bridge to understanding the universe in ways humanity had only dreamed of. The Vraxians had unknowingly done exactly what the Concordat had planned, they had forced humanity to unlock its true potential. Now the only question was whether they could master these newfound powers in time. The resistance rising. The orbital defense platform shuddered as Commander Sarah Chen activated her neural interface. Through the quantum link, she could feel the minds of thousands of other humans connected to the global shield network. Each consciousness added its strength to the barrier protecting Earth, a shimmering dome of iridescent energy that stretched from pole to pole. Vraxian fleet emerging from fold space, Lieutenant Park announced from his station. Multiple signatures. They've brought reinforcements. Sarah opened her eyes, watching as the massive ships tore their way back into normal space. The lead vessel alone dwarfed anything humanity had ever built, its hull crackling with weapons energy. But this time, Earth was ready. All shield operators, prepare for contact, she broadcast through the neural network. The response was immediate, a surge of collective determination that made the quantum shields pulse brighter. High Commander Vex's voice boomed across all frequencies. Your species has exceeded its allocated response time. Imperial Protocol now authorizes full subjugation measures. Prepare for. The transmission cut off as the Vraxian fleet opened fire. Beams of devastating energy lanced toward Earth's major cities. But where they met the quantum shields, something remarkable happened. The energy didn't just disperse, it was absorbed, transformed, and redirected. Impossible, Vex's voice returned, genuine shock evident despite the translation. You possess Concordat technology. Explain immediately. Sarah broadcast her response on all channels. We are the children of the Concordat, High Commander. And we reject your authority. The shield network hummed with power as more humans joined the neural interface. Each mind added its unique perspective, its dreams and determination, creating defense patterns the Vraxians targeting computers couldn't predict. Their weapons, designed to overwhelm conventional shields through brute force, proved useless against barriers powered by human consciousness itself. But Sarah knew the shields were just the beginning. While the Vraxians tested Earth's defenses, she and her team were implementing the second phase of their plan. Deep within the quantum data, they'd found something else: coordinates for hidden Concordat outposts scattered throughout the galaxy. Dr. Patel, she called through her neural link. Status of the quantum jump drive? Online and charged, came his response. But Sarah, we've never attempted a jump with this many variables. The neural network is stable for planetary defense, but adding faster-than-light calculations. We don't have a choice. Sarah expanded her consciousness through the network, touching the minds of the other command staff. The Vraxians will keep coming unless we take the fight to them. More importantly, we need to find other species they've targeted, show them how to access their own hidden potential. The prototype ship waited in lunar orbit, its hull incorporating salvaged Concordat technology merged with human innovation. They called it the Defiant, and it represented humanity's first true starship. Its neural interface system would allow a crew to navigate fold space using the same consciousness-powered technology that drove their shields. All volunteers for Operation Starfall, prepare for transit, Sarah ordered. Across the planet, 200 specially trained operators disconnected from the shield network and made their way to waiting shuttles. They were Earth's first deep space strike team, chosen for their exceptional neural compatibility with Concordat tech. The Vraxian fleet continued its bombardment, trying to overload Earth's defenses through sustained fire. But with each attack, the human operators learned more about manipulating quantum energy. Some began to experiment, creating localized distortions that swallowed Vraxian missiles or redirected energy beams back at their sources. First wave of shuttles approaching Defiant, Park reported. Vraxian picket ships moving to intercept. Sarah reached out through the neural network, connecting with the shield operators near the shuttle route. Together, they created a corridor of warped space that concealed the small craft from Vraxian sensors. It was exhausting work, requiring unprecedented coordination, but the human mind proved remarkably adaptable to manipulating quantum fields. As the last shuttle docked with Defiant, Sarah prepared to transfer her consciousness from the defense platform to the ship's neural interface chamber. But a sudden spike in the quantum field made her pause. Something vast was stirring in fold space, something that resonated with the Concordat technology in ways she didn't understand. New contact. Park's voice carried equal parts awe and alarm. Massive quantum signature emerging from the dark side of Luna. Through the neural network, Sarah felt it, ancient machinery awakening from millennia of dormancy, responding to the activation of human genetic potential. The moon's surface cracked as something rose from its core, a Concordat installation that had waited eons for its inheritors to claim it. High Commander Vex's next transmission contained something Sarah had never expected to hear in a Vraxian voice: fear. All ships, execute emergency fold space retreat. The Architect's cradle has awakened. Repeat, the cradle is active. Sarah stared in wonder as the lunar surface parted like petals of a flower, revealing a vast complex of quantum technology that pulsed in perfect harmony with Earth's shields. The Vraxian fleet, seemingly invincible hours ago, began a panicked withdrawal. But this wasn't just a victory to be celebrated. The emergence of the Architect's cradle changed everything. Earth wasn't just home to Concordat descendants, it had been chosen as the hidden heart of their legacy, protected until humanity was ready to awaken its true potential. As the Defiant prepared for its first quantum jump, Sarah felt the weight of that legacy. They weren't just fighting for Earth anymore. They were fighting to restore hope to a galaxy that had lived too long under Vraxian dominion. The resistance wasn't just rising. It was coming home. The Atlas Initiative. The Defiant emerged from fold space into a system the Concordat records called Haven's Rest. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her consciousness merged with the ship's quantum systems, feeling the echoes of ancient battles in the debris field around them. This had been one of the Concordat's last strongholds before their mysterious disappearance. Multiple structures detected on the third planet, Lieutenant Park reported. They match Concordat signatures, but there's something else, biosignatures. Thousands of them. Through the neural interface, Sarah sensed the truth before their sensors confirmed it. Survivors, she breathed. Not just ruins, actual survivors of other species the Vraxians targeted. The planet below was a sanctuary, hidden by advanced quantum camouflage. As the Defiant descended through the atmosphere, they saw settlements scattered across continents, each housing refugees from dozens of worlds. Some had been hiding here for generations, keeping alive the hope that someday, someone would unlock the Concordat's legacy. A transmission reached them, carried on quantum frequencies that bypassed conventional communication methods. Children of Earth, a voice spoke in their minds, we have waited long for your awakening. The speaker was Arkson, one of the Haven's Rest elders. His species had been among the first to face Vraxian expansion, and they'd spent millennia protecting the Concordat secrets. In a vast underground chamber, he revealed the full scope of what humanity had stumbled into. The Concordat wasn't just an alliance, Arkson explained, his crystalline form refracting light as he moved. It was an experiment in evolution. They seeded compatible species across the galaxy, encoding within them the potential to manipulate quantum reality itself. Humanity wasn't just given their technology, you were designed to be its ultimate expression. Sarah watched as holographic displays showed the true nature of human DNA. The junk sequences scientists had puzzled over for centuries were actually dormant quantum processors, waiting to be activated. The Vraxian arrival had triggered a cascade effect, awakening abilities that had lain dormant for thousands of generations. The Architect's cradle beneath your moon is more than a weapon or a shield, Arkson continued. It's a key to unlocking the quantum framework of reality itself. But it needed conscious minds evolved enough to comprehend its power without being corrupted by it. That's what makes humans unique, your capacity for both technological advancement and ethical development. But with understanding came urgency. The Vraxian Empire was mobilizing its full might, preparing to sterilize Earth rather than risk the spread of Concordat renaissance. The refugees of Haven's Rest knew this because they'd seen it before, on countless worlds. Then we don't just fight for Earth, Sarah declared. We fight for every species they've ever threatened. The Atlas Initiative begins now. Over the next weeks, the Defiant's crew worked with Haven's Rest survivors to master their awakening abilities. They learned to fold space with thought alone, to create quantum constructs that defied conventional physics, and to link minds across vast distances. More importantly, they learned why the Concordat had chosen this path. The universe isn't just physical, their teachers explained. It's a construct of consciousness itself. The Vraxians represent pure materialism, domination through force. The Concordat knew that true evolution required a balance of technological and spiritual advancement. The Atlas Initiative took shape, a plan to activate the dormant potential in every species the Vraxians had suppressed. Earth's quantum shields were just the beginning. With the power of the Architect's cradle, they could create a network of consciousness that would span the galaxy. As Sarah stood in the Haven's Rest Command Center, watching the first transmission of awakening codes to hidden enclaves of resistance, she felt the weight of ages pressing upon her. Through the neural interface, she sensed minds stirring on countless worlds, remembering who and what they truly were. The Vraxian Empire had spent millennia building its power through force and fear. But they had never understood the true nature of the universe they sought to control. They couldn't comprehend that consciousness itself was the ultimate force, and that evolution wasn't just about bigger ships and better weapons. A quantum pulse from Earth reached them. The Vraxian Armada had begun its advance on the Sol system. But this time, humanity wouldn't face them alone. Across the galaxy, the children of the Concordat were awakening, remembering their heritage, and preparing to stand together. The Atlas Initiative wasn't just a defensive plan, it was the fulfillment of an ancient dream. A dream of a galaxy where consciousness and technology evolved in harmony, where diversity was strength, and where the power to shape reality came with the wisdom to use it justly. As the Defiant prepared to return to Earth for the coming battle, Sarah felt a profound sense of purpose. Humanity had spent centuries looking to the stars for answers, never realizing that the greatest mysteries lay within themselves. Now those mysteries were unfolding, revealing not just what humans could do, but what they were meant to become. The true test of their evolution was about to begin. A new dawn. The Sol system blazed with quantum fire as the largest Vraxian fleet ever assembled emerged from Fold space. 10,000 ships, each carrying enough firepower to shatter worlds, arranged themselves in attack formation around Earth. But the planet they faced was not the same one they had threatened months before. The Architect's cradle had transformed Luna into a gleaming satellite of pure quantum energy, its surface inscribed with patterns visible from Earth. The planet itself pulsed with the combined consciousness of billions of humans, now fully awakened to their heritage. And in high orbit, the Defiant led a fleet of ships that defied conventional physics, their forms shifting with the thoughts of their neural-linked crews. "This is your final opportunity to submit," High Commander Vex broadcasted. "The Empire cannot allow Concordat technology to spread." Sarah Chen, her consciousness expanded through the neural network that connected all of humanity, sensed the fear behind his words. The Vraxians weren't just facing a military threat, they were witnessing the collapse of everything they believed about the universe. "You never understood what the Concordat really was," Sarah responded, her thoughts carried on quantum frequencies that reached every ship in both fleets. "They didn't just leave us technology. They showed us a truth you've denied for millennia: consciousness shapes reality itself." The battle began with a scale that defied comprehension. Vraxian energy weapons powerful enough to crack planets struck quantum shields that transformed their power into pure creative force. Human ships phased through space in ways that violated every law of physics the Empire had built its weapons upon. But the true battle wasn't fought with ships and shields. Through the neural network, Sarah directed humanity's awakened consciousness toward the quantum framework underlying reality itself. The Architect's cradle amplified their efforts, creating ripples in spacetime that began to awaken other species across the galaxy. What are you doing?" Vex's voice shook as his sensors registered the impossible. On thousands of worlds, suppressed species were remembering their true nature. The genetic keys humanity had unlocked were spreading, cascading through the quantum consciousness of the galaxy. Through the neural link, Sarah felt them all, the crystalline beings of Arxon's people, rising from their hidden sanctuaries, the energy entities of the Helios cluster, remembering how to dance among the stars, the deep space dwellers of the void reaches, unfurling thoughts that spanned light years. "The Concordat didn't fail," Sarah explained as the awakening spread. "This was their plan all along. They seeded the galaxy with potential, knowing that when one species remembered, all would remember. Humanity wasn't meant to be your subjects, Commander. We were meant to be the key that unlocked everything you sought to control." The Vraxian fleet's formation began to break as their weapons proved useless against defenses that rewrote local physics. But Sarah and humanity had no desire for destruction. Instead, through the neural network, they offered understanding. They showed the Vraxians the universe as it truly was, not a collection of resources to be dominated, but a vast web of conscious energy waiting to be explored. Some Vraxian ships fled. Others, their crews beginning to feel the first stirrings of their own suppressed potential, lowered their weapons. The Empire had spent millennia enforcing order through technological might, never realizing they were fighting against their own evolution. The Architect's cradle reached full power, its quantum resonance connecting with similar structures hidden on worlds across the galaxy. Through the neural network, Sarah felt the final pieces of the Concordat's plan falling into place. They hadn't hidden their legacy to keep it safe, they had hidden it to ensure it would only be found when a species was ready to understand its true purpose. The age of empires is over, Sarah broadcast to all ships, all worlds, all conscious beings awakening to their potential. The age of consciousness has begun. As the quantum awakening spread across the galaxy, Sarah felt the truth the Concordat had known all along: technology without consciousness was a dead end. True evolution required both the physical and the spiritual, the material and the quantum, the individual and the collective. The Vraxian fleet hung motionless in space, their crews experiencing the first touches of awakened consciousness. High Commander Vex's final transmission held no threat, only wonder: we never knew, we never even imagined. Earth glowed with quantum fire, its people united in a neural network that stretched across space and time. The architect's cradle pulsed in harmony with similar structures across the galaxy, creating a symphony of consciousness that would reshape civilization itself. Humanity had fulfilled its role not as conquerors or victims, but as catalysts for universal awakening. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter as countless species remembered their true nature, joining in a quantum chorus that would echo through eternity. Sarah Chen, who had begun this journey seeking to protect Earth from alien threats, now understood that humanity's destiny was far greater than mere survival. They were the dreamers who had awakened first, and in doing so, had helped the galaxy remember how to dream. A new dawn had truly begun, not just for Earth, but for all conscious beings who looked up at the stars and wondered what mysteries they held. The answer, they now knew, had been within them all along. The legacy of the stars was not power or dominion, but the infinite potential of consciousness itself, waiting to be awakened in every mind that dared to dream of something greater.